Our girl is destitute.
What conspiracy theory do you have?
You're the Feyre.
I'm Feyre. He hates Tamlin. He's also a bit of a petty bitch.
And yet, she decides, let me just shoot my shot and see it. I'm like, girl.
Hello.
Hello.
Woo!
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, dude, we're cooking with gas right now in this book, so I am here for it.
Oh, dude.
Like, we're getting into the meat and potatoes
Oh,
of this book
and the gravy and the
and the group.
like we're digging in. Like the amount of times that I thought about like fucking like Helm's Deep or just like I know I made that reference in the last episode, but just like especially the beginning of chapter 33 just feels so like the final act of the film, you know? It
Yes.
just feels so like like going into battle, like it's just it or like the end of the scary movie when like the final girl is like just getting ready to like go face to face with that demon and she's just like
Yes.
at this point I don't fucking care anymore, you know, like it just feels so like yeah, like let's see what happens. So yeah,
I love
excited.
it. Well, it's funny because like, you know, as our listeners know this, this was my first like real romantasy series that I ever read. And I'm really glad because I think if it hadn't been, you know, the first half of this book, more than half of this book is very different, I would say, than most romantasies. Like most romantasies, like if you've read Fourth Wing, if you've read Rounds of Nyaxia, if you've read, you know, Phantasma, it usually there is some sort of like warrior element or you know, like a kingdom that is in ruin or something like that. And we didn't really get a ton of that aside from Feyre and poverty, but like once she's in the spring court, it's this beautiful fairy tale,
Yeah.
which is very different than most romantasy series. And now we're at the part where it's like, oh no, here it is.
Yeah.
This is really what we're here for.
We've reached the, I would say, like heavy fantasy portion. Because this is like
Yes.
very classic in fantasy books that there's this sort of kind of final battle or meeting or just
Stand.
like just this stand. There's normally just like a final kind of like something, this like
Yeah.
epic finale, basically. And it's very classic, and classically in the last 100 pages, like we're just hitting
Yeah.
a lot of classic fantasy stuff. So I really feel like this is really, you know, obviously it's been extremely fantasy the whole time because we're with fairies
Oh yeah.
and what have you, but like it's been far more focused on the sort of like romance aspect. And I feel while the romance is important to what is happening, we're in a far more of a fantasy portion like of this book.
It felt more YA before, and now we're getting to the
Yes.
rated R stuff.
Yeah, this is like this is the action. This is the because yeah, it turns, I mean, you know, we've had dark elements throughout the book thus far, but even in
Yeah.
these two chapters, the level of fear and outright brutality that happens is extremely elevated. So, yeah, but I
Yeah.
feel like we should do our Cauldron Save Me because I'm like getting
Yeah.
too excited to talk about it.
No, I know, right? All right, my Cauldron Save Me is very small and silly, but I went to Costco earlier last week and I bought matcha so I can make my own matcha lemonade. And let me tell you, small thing, game changer though, because like I hate to say it, I really missed the matcha train that began in LA last year. I
Mhm.
tried it one time, was not a fan. Then I went to Cha Cha Matcha with my sister, tried her strawberry matcha. I'm like, well, shit, that is really good. And it has caffeine, but it isn't coffee, so I won't get the tummy aches in the afternoon. But they're expensive.
Yeah.
And my coffee shop up the street no longer has the one I liked. So I'm like, well, there you go. So I'm like, well, you just get a big old bag at Costco, buy some strawberry lemonade, make it almost for free,
Yum.
basically. So, yeah, it's
That's
the
girl
little
math right
things.
there.
Literally, I mean, truly, but the amount of money I'm saving, like, and I
Yes.
don't get them a ton, but a matcha down in LA is gonna run you, I'm gonna say anywhere between like $6 to $9.
Yeah, when we went,
Yeah.
when I was there, it was not
Yep.
cheap. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So,
So
I love
this
that for
this
you.
maybe costs 50 cents at most.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
that for you. Yay,
Thank you.
Costco.
Yay. So if you hear my ice little ASMR,
Yeah, right? Right? That's so good.
that's just me sipping on my matcha.
Yeah. My Cauldron Save Me is also very silly. Um, and it's like it's really silly, but it's like, you know, as a woman, right, we're always trying to like find like the right clothing for ourselves and all these kinds of things and like what looks good on you and like what doesn't, or trying to find your style or whatever. And tell me why um my partner is way better at it for me than I am. It has reached a hilarious point. Like when I went to Florida for Disney, Jeff helped me pick out all my outfits like for
Right.
Disney or and then like the dinners that we were gonna have. And it kind of started as like a joke,
Yeah.
right? Where I was just like, should I wear this? Blah blah. And then I was like, can you just sit in here like while I do this? And like the sweet man that he is, he did.
Right.
But like the ideas he would come up with, because we've been together for a decade. So like the man knows my clothing, you know? And so
Right.
he'd be like, well, don't you have like that belt? Or don't you have like whatever? And we would try it and it would look so good, or combinations of things that I would not normally think of. And
Right.
and so it has now turned to where when I am like bored online shopping, I send my list to Jeff to be like, what do we think? And you know, I am not the woman who is like, I need approval. Like it's nothing to do with
No.
approval. It's just that like he
He has
has
good
such
taste.
he has good taste. He has such better eye of like
Yes.
what looks good on me. Also, he is not looking at my body with the body dysmorphia that I have, right?
Right.
Like I'm
Right.
looking at like he is show like every now and then he'll like show me something where he's like, I think you look really good at this in this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? I would not look good in that at all. We purchased one of those things recently and I tried it on and I look fantastic. And I was just what?
Dude.
It's like this is hilarious. So like Cauldron saved me, I guess, from like my own body dysmorphia. And God bless the fact that I have a partner who is like willing to go down this hilarious road with me. Like
So
I know
cute.
it's really cute actually, but it's
First
just
off,
it's so funny.
he is basically the Stanley Tucci to your Anne Hathaway in This Devil Wears Prada, and I'm loving that for you too.
But okay,
Let's dive in.
let's get into it. Yeah, so chapters 33, 34, right? Like so where we left off Sweet Baby Feyre is info dump. Hardcore info dump from Alice. Like so she
Hardcore
right,
info dump.
we're back in Prithian. Tamlin's gone. Hardcore info dump from Alice. We are not going to summarize it right here. If you need a memory, if you need a reminder, go back to our last episode and listen to
I
it.
say listen to the episode.
Yeah,
But where she is right now is she's on her way to the
to the
infamous at this point Under the Mountain.
under the mountain.
Just a quick note. I love how this I don't think this spoils. We never get like a name for it. It's just always
Yeah,
Under the Mountain.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well, and I love how it's capitalized too. Like it is the
yeah.
name of this area.
Yeah.
It's just under the mountain. And you're like,
Because
okay.
there is another mountain that will come into play later in the series, and that has a name. But this has always remained just
Fun. Yeah.
Under the Mountain.
It's just which is very funny. But yeah, Alice is leading her to under the mountain. And I love this like kind of, you know, to go back like to how we started the episode of just like I love this visual of Feyre just like gearing up with her weapons. You know,
Yep.
like she's just like we get a full description of you know, everything that's on her. But what I love is how even at the end of that description, she's kind of like, you know, it's better than nothing. Like there's this sort of
Yeah.
I think within even I mean both of these chapters, there's this kind of constant awareness that Feyre has of her like being the underdog in this
Yep.
situation. You know, she like multiple times when she's talking about some of the different weapons that she has, there's like normally a little statement at the end that's like for what it'll do. Like this kind of like
Right.
she is hardcore aware that she is walking into a lion's den scenario,
Yeah.
and but she's not going to go in empty-handed. She will go in fighting, and I just it we're kind of there's a lot of things in these 2 chapters that sort of bring me back to the Feyre that we met in the beginning of the book, of this
Yes.
very like kind of like badass survival headspace of
Yeah.
just she's made this decision, and this is what she's going to do. And something I also realized that we never really talked about in the last episode was this inevitable level of guilt that Feyre must be feeling,
Yeah.
because she could have broken this curse.
Yeah.
And I think you get so in the weeds about being like info dumped with this curse that you just get so stuck in there. And I think that's why on this first page of this chapter on 290, there's this quote where Feyre's thinking, and she's like, it says, "Stay with the High Lord," the Suriel had
Mhm.
said. "Stay with him, fall in love with him. All will be righted. If I had stayed, if I had admitted what I'd felt, none of this would have happened." And it just I feel like Sarah does this very purposely because I think she's trying to remind us, like, she's like, "Okay, I know I dumped a lot of info on you, but also here's
Yeah.
now probably how Feyre is feeling about this." I'm just like this further realization of like, "Oh, right, right. This is really shitty." Like, yes, it makes complete sense that Feyre didn't because she didn't know, she didn't, all of that
Right.
annoyance of Alice and everything. But it's like, still at the end of the day, if she had just said, "I love you," before she got sent home, all of the like, none of this would be happening. And the level of guilt, like, I almost feel like that's why she is sort of okay with kind of running into the lion's den, is that she didn't
Mm,
take action before. And so she's
yeah.
going to take action now because that's just who she is.
Well, and I think, I don't wanna, like, dive too deep into it. We do in the spoiler-free section, I'm sorry, the spoiler section of last week, we talked about that. But, for the reasons that we talked about with Alice last week of, like, Alice, she couldn't have known, right? Like, I think Feyre's feelings of guilt, they're valid, absolutely, and I if I were in her shoes, I would probably feel the same exact
Oh,
way.
yeah.
But as the reader, I'm sitting here going like, "Girl, like, you couldn't have known, like, I get why you didn't say it back." And
Yeah.
also, I think, yeah, we wouldn't have been in the situation, but also, if she had said, "I love you," Feyre likely would be dead by now
Yeah.
because she would have broken the curse, but Amarantha would have come and killed her or sent, like, Rhysand or someone to kill her.
Yeah. But
Yes.
still, like, I
I
think
Yeah.
this I mean, I completely agree. I don't think Farrah should actually, like, there is a lot of logical reasons as to why she did not break the curse, because there's
Right.
so many things there. If Tamlin hadn't sent her away so soon, I actually think she would have ended up saying it to him before those
Yeah.
days were up. Like, she was a
Yes.
breath away, which means if she just had one more day to get to sit in that fuzzy feeling, it probably would have come out naturally. So there's
Yeah.
definitely some stuff there, but I think just like I think it's a lot of the driving force that Feyre has in this initial uh chutzpah, really, to decide to go under the mountain. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is a very ballsy move.
Well, especially because on page 291, I mean, Alice straight up tells her,
Yeah.
"You'll be lucky if she gives you a clean death. You'll be lucky if you even get brought before her." Like, Feyre is truly walking into the lion's den almost completely blind. Like,
Yeah.
yes, she's been told about the curse, but she really doesn't know fully what she's walking into,
Right.
which is so scary. The other
Yeah.
thing I want to talk about, and this is really important, is on that same page, 291, Alice lays down some rules
Ground
and
rules.
some ground rules, and
Yeah.
they are. Very important rules. So she says, don't drink the wine. It's not like what we had at the solstice and will do more harm than good. Don't make deals with anyone unless your life depends on it. And even then, consider whether it's worth it. And most of all, don't trust a soul in there, not even your Tamlin. Your senses are your greatest enemies. They will be waiting to betray you. We already know in the next chapter she breaks one of these rules
Yeah.
because she makes a bargain with
Yeah.
Amarantha. So I think we'll see how the other rules pan out.
Yeah.
But we already know she's breaking the rules because, and we'll once we get to that chapter, we'll talk more about it. I get why she makes the bargain,
Oh, yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Um, but Alice, for all her faults, has some very sound advice, I'll say.
Yeah, she's really trying to help baby girl
Yeah.
out. Because this whole time Alice is definitely giving her a lot of tood for for like going, and I think it's just because,
Yeah.
I think Alice is she's a tough love kind of lady,
She
She's
feels
a
like the tough mom or the tough
yes.
aunt
Yeah.
who's just saying they're going like, "I fucking told you." Like, we're in this pickle because, you kind of got us
Yeah.
here and like there's really nothing you can do to fix it.
But I'll also be the first one to come pick you up when you call me for help. Right? Right?
Yes.
Like, she feels like
Yeah.
that one, where she'll probably berate you on the whole drive home, but she will come
Oh,
and get you at 2 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
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 like
the
that.
underage
Yeah,
drinking scenario. Yep.
exactly. It's that. Because Alice doesn't wanna do any of this, but she's taking her straight to under the mountain.
Right.
You know what I mean? She takes her to a shortcut.
Right.
It's that. So I totally agree. But yeah, she is a tough love kind of lady, but I love that she still gives these rules. It also is funny, there's a very very common thing within stories about fairies with
Mm,
this idea of that you can't trust your senses, of
yeah.
um that they're going to betray you and that fairies are
Right.
going to kind of use that against you. And honestly, it is so scary to me, like this concept, because it completely paralyzes you. Like, if you cannot trust your senses, what do you trust then? Like,
Yeah.
because in my mind, that basically means that there are things that could be happening that you couldn't even begin to imagine would be happening. So
Totally.
it is always like this this concept to me in fairy stories is always really, really scary because it really does put you in this sort of dumb human place where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So like, I'm going to fuck up no matter what, because I don't know how I'm supposed to navigate that perfectly. And
Right.
like baby girl, like she kind of brings it up multiple times how she's like, she, she's really trying to not trust certain things, like even later when she's about to exit the cave, she's like, it sounds like it's really quiet, but like, I don't know, maybe it's not. But then like to me, that would just like paralyze me into one spot. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just an interesting thing because this is like a commonality with a lot of other fairy stories of this idea that you can't like trust it. And it's just, I would say in these two chapters, there are a lot of things that are just straight scary. And like, there's no other way to explain them. They're just fucking scary. And like, that
Oh,
is such a scary concept to me. She is already going to be a, deer. Like, she's going
yeah.
to be a fucking like, just little deer jumping into a lion's den. Like, this is already all very scary. And oh, by the way, can't
Don't
trust
trust
anything
yourself.
else.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, I mean, I think the idea is trust logic, but some like if you don't like if you're a human in it surrounded by fae, like you don't even know necessarily what the logical solution would be.
Right.
So I think that's like cuz normally in a scenario like that you would rely on your instincts.
Yeah.
But you're being told, "Oh no, your instincts are going to be fucking wrong."
Yeah.
Like so and I mean the reason for not just in this series but other fae books, fae have a really good way of basically talking in riddles is
Yeah.
what it comes down to. And funny enough we'll get to riddles later in this
Yeah.
chapter, but we'll definitely see how fae can be tricky with their words
Yeah.
while we're under the mountain. And it's not a I mean, it's a trial by fire for sure. Not the best place to learn this lesson at all.
No. No. They're basically hiking for a long time, and
Yeah.
then we finally reach this sort of like uh shortcut, right? Alice says
Yeah.
that all dark and miserable roads lead under the mountain, which is an interesting statement. Alice has this another little info dump that
Oh,
feels very wildly classic at this point in this book
and
of
kind of
here's some
annoying
more
too.
information that you won't be able to decipher, right? So it's
Yep.
292.
Yep.
Alice was like, there's one part of the curse, one part we can't tell you. Even now my bones are crying out just for mentioning it. One part you have to figure out on your own. One part she obviously Alice is having a difficult time saying this, and she says that she still doesn't want you to know. If I can't say it, but keep your ears open, girl. Listen to what you hear.
Emphasis on listen. It's italicized. So what does that mean?
This is also after she told her not to trust her senses. So it's like,
Um, I know. Like there really is no winning for Feyre in this
really
scenario.
is no
Like
winning.
and like obviously I'm not going to fault Alice for this because like she literally cannot tell her like her
Yeah.
body is like reacting to even
Yeah.
telling her this. But my god is this annoying.
Dear God. You're like,
Like,
okay. Like, Feyre's got enough to
yeah.
think about in this moment. I mean, I appreciate that Alice, it clearly is trying to set Feyre up for the most amount of success she can give her. But it's
Yeah.
just like, really? I thought we were like, as a reader, you're kind of like, what? I thought we
Yeah.
were done with having these secrets and these things. Like, are you kidding? She has to kind of try to figure something else out while we're about to walk into God knows what. Like, okay.
Spoiler, you are never done when it comes to Sarah J.
I
Maas book
know,
and
but
like
it's
secrets. Like, and let me tell you, Akatar compared to the other two, especially like re-listening to some of Throne of Glass with David, like it is child's play compared to like the secrets and twists that happen in her
oh
other
yeah.
series.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it gets wild in
Yeah.
the Mass verse.
Oh, it very much does.
Yeah.
But it's just okay, like there's not really much for us to like pull apart about this besides just like,
No.
okay, cool. We have another
Yeah.
thing that we don't know about that poor baby Feyre is gonna have to worry about. Um, the other thing I actually really like about this goodbye between her and
Yeah.
Alice is how even with Feyre about to walk into God knows what, she's already worried about Alice's safety.
I
And
know.
how she tells her to, like, potentially run to the mortal lands and, like, look up
Oh,
Nesta,
and that Nesta would
and that Nesta would and I
protect her.
actually believe that, that
Absolutely.
Nesta would.
Yeah.
I can we just have, like, a
Well,
small moment of thinking about Nesta and Alice together?
those 2, I feel they would hate each other at first, but then they would end up, like, loving each other.
Yes, that's exactly how I
Like
feel because I feel like they would take up very similar spaces socially,
yes.
and
Yeah.
then I feel like they would, like, fall in love. It'd be kind of one of those, like, almost like slightly mean girl moments where they would fall in love because they would, like, both bitch about Papa Archeron or something at the same time,
That's
and then they would
exactly
just be
yes.
like, "Yeah,"
I see
and then
you.
just, like, really like each other, but I just love thinking about this little duo, like,
Ugh,
so cute.
I I want it to happen now,
Yeah, I
honestly.
know, I know, I know, me too.
Oh my god, but no,
Little
it
side
I
note,
mean,
little side story.
classic Feyre thinking about everyone before herself.
I know.
I also Alice gives her like when Feyre is saying thank you, for taking me here. Alice gives such a classic Alice line where she says on page 292, "It's a rare day indeed when someone thanks you for bringing them to their death." I'm like, "Okay, Alice, can we have like a shred of maybe like maternal instincts here or something where it's like just comfort the poor
Yeah,
girl for one
yeah.
second. Like she's grown massive balls to just do this.
Yes.
Like, just
Yeah,
say you're welcome."
yeah. Well, I feel like she does, like, she says, like, "I wish you luck," and then I love the stay alive, like, right before Feyre, like, walks into this tunnel
Yep.
or this cave, basically. I also think it's interesting that she sort of I think it's kind of beautiful where we kind of get this almost like last painter's mind moment because
Yeah.
she even later like in chapter 34 when she like first enters like the throne room and stuff, she even kind of says like, with an unnecessary part of my mind, like she does that
Yeah.
whole thing again, right? When she's in survival mode, she sort of views her painter mind as like this unnecessary thing. But she kind of
Yeah.
has this like little like last moment where, right, she looks at like the green hills and like they're the color of Tamlin's eyes. And I
Right.
think it's this like very sweet moment of sort of, it's like I feel like what we see in these two chapters too, and as well what we've seen throughout the book is Feyre is really good at like finding a mantra for herself or
Yeah.
giving herself a reminder of why she's doing certain things. And I just
Yeah.
feel like this is like this little boost. It's this little moment of like, right, right.
Yes.
I'm doing it for Tamlin. I'm doing it because I love
Yeah.
him. Like this is why we're doing this. So it's kind of like a sweet little
She's
gift.
really good at that, but here's one thing she's not good at is cutting herself some slack.
Yeah,
So
truth.
once she goes under the mountain, she's kind of going through these tunnels, right? And she's hearing these weird sounds and everything. And on page 294, she's like talking about going under, and she says, I could be anywhere in Amarantha's court. Alice should have given me more information. I should have been smart enough to ask, or smart enough to think of another way, anyway, but this. And the reason I want to bring this up is we get this idea of her being smart enough, or some iteration of that, like smart enough, you know, just whatever enough, a lot from Feyre, even before this.
Mhm.
And I feel like this is a really common experience for young women, especially like at her age, where they enter this world that they're not familiar with, in this case, a Feyland, but for most, you know, normal humans who don't live
Yeah.
in a world where there's Fey, like that could be college, that could be the workforce, that can be whatever. And they really begin to doubt themselves and say, oh, I should have been this enough. I should have been that enough. And it makes me really sad
Yeah.
because this is just my own experience. Like, in hindsight's 2020, but when felt that way when I was 19 years old, I've now, as a 33-year-old, look back on those times and go, well, I couldn't have known,
Yeah.
right? Like, there was no possible way for me to have known because I hadn't had that that was the first time I had that life experience. And so it makes me sad for the character of Feyre, but I'm so glad from a storytelling perspective that Sarah J. Maas includes this because I think it does kind of in some ways get addressed later. And I think it's something that really kind of needs to be represented in a hero like Feyre, like showing, I mean, because she is the hero
Yeah.
of this book, like
Yeah.
showing a badass woman who can do all these things most of us can't,
Yeah.
will still doubt herself. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, the feelings are there, but feelings aren't necessarily true,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting.
Well, and I agree in that I think it's important for us to like see these kinds of heroic characters having these kinds of thoughts,
Yeah.
right? Like so often people think that these people who are these incredible, um activists or
Yeah.
you know like I guess when I think of heroes, those are some of the people that like I think of, and it's just you you assume that these people are always have it all together and they're never scared
Yeah.
and they never doubt themselves and they never, and it's like no, actually what makes these people heroic is that they still have all those thoughts too. It's just that those thoughts don't stop them from still trying, still
Yeah.
going forward, still doing their thing. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's like important for us to see this because what I also think is great is that right after she has this thought, she basically convinces herself of like, no, no, this is the
Yeah.
time. There's not going to be any other opportunity. Like, no, I'm going to stay, going to accomplish this. And she
Yeah.
even like, she's like, I would never work up the nerve again. Like I would never be able to do this if we were not in this particular situation. So like, doesn't really matter that I don't have all of the things together. This is the time that we're going to do it. And so I think it's this very beautiful kind of back and forth of her being like, wow, why did I not? But whatever, fuck it. I'm going to have to do this. And then unfortunately, worst case scenario, like right after that,
Yeah.
right? The fucking adder who she's only ever
Yep.
actually seen in her nightmares
Her
or on her painting,
Yeah.
catches her, right? And that's how we end the chapter.
Yeah.
But before we dive into 35 or sorry, 34, um, this whole portion of her uh slinking through the cave
Mm,
and getting to the crack in the wall is my
mm.
sound moment for this week.
I thought it was gonna be the adder. Okay, I
Well,
love this,
so
though.
this kind of leads me into because so yeah, so my sound moment, I mean, it really basically it's this entire portion of um, from 292 to basically like the end of the chapter.
Right.
There's a lot to play with from a sense of anxiety, from a sense of like this is a very heavy, I would say like thriller style movie like moment, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like the only sounds were my shallow breathing and the crunch of my boots on stone. And then on 293 it's and then came the voices, hissing and braying, eloquent and guttural, a cacophony bursting the silence like a firecracker. I pressed myself
Yeah.
against the cave wall, but the sounds passed and faded. And I it's so visceral. There are so many sound descriptions in these two chapters that are incredibly visceral. Some of the adjectives and stuff that Sarah decides to use are incredible. And I love this, a cacophony bursting the silence like a firework or a firecracker. It's so good
Yeah.
because when you're in a very like if you're sneaking around, right? All of us have had some kind of experience of trying to be quiet while we're walking around somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden everything becomes so much louder, right? Like your little padded footstep or when you do accidentally brush the wall or
Yeah.
whatever. Everything becomes super, so these things that are almost whisper like become extremely loud. So
Yeah.
imagine slinking around trying to be as quiet as possible and then all of a sudden you hear people talking at normal volume.
Yeah.
That is like you're gonna like that's a slap
Gonna
in the
feel
face of
that shit.
sound. Or exactly. Like
Yeah.
that is so sudden. Um and it's just it's so beautifully I just think it's really well like phrased.
Yeah.
And also I always find it really funny in films when the characters have to like basically one run through just like open hallways,
Right.
Like I think about like in Star Wars, in A New Hope, when
Yeah.
freaking Han and Luke are trying to go or like they have captured Leia and they're just running through these open hallways and they're so obviously like not supposed to be there, right?
Right,
Like their
right.
helmets are off and so they're like half in and they're just like I always find these moments so hilarious and stressful because anyone could come around the corner and immediately know you're not
Right.
supposed to be there. And it happens in
Right.
these style of films and stories like constantly. And so this whole moment of her having to decide to leave the safety of the darkness of her cave and officially entering this under the mountain. We have officially reached
Yes.
it. This is a very scary moment because this is when she will officially be truly exposed. When she decides to finally like go through, she's getting all these visuals, right? She's thinking about the fairy that they rescued. She's thinking, or not, or I guess helped die peacefully. She's thinking about all these scary things. And then also she has this moment when she finally squeezes through. She says, "My weapons scraped against the stone and I winced at the hiss of falling pebbles." So there's just a lot of sound stuff for this scene. Like this entire scene would be a non-dialogue scene that is full of extremely important sound design or just sounds in general. And so I just love how in my mind, I wouldn't want to do a lot of tricks. Like I wouldn't
Right.
want to do like our low bass
Infrasound or
tone.
yeah.
Exactly. I wouldn't wanna do any of that because the
Right.
naturalness of just this scene being so quiet and the Foley, the sound of her walking and everything, it's gonna do it on its own without you having, and how fucking cool. That just feels like something you and I
I
would love so much to later just be like, "Yeah, we did nothing for that scene, just Foley."
oh, it's so funny because as you were saying all this, I'm so glad you came to the conclusion of, like, wanting it to be very organic because it reminded me bear with me, I promise it's gonna come back around to this. So I just finished reading the book Circe, which was so good.
"Oh, you
It's about the
finished!"
I finished last night. Oh, so
So
good.
good.
If you haven't read it, it's about the Greek mythology goddess Circe or nymph slash titan, I guess.
Yeah.
And it goes through a lot of Greek mythology through her eyes.
Yeah.
And one of the stories that's told is the story of how the Minotaur is created. And if you're not familiar with the Minotaur is a Greek mythology creature. It's like half human, half like, I don't even know, like ram beast sort of
It's like a
thing.
bowl.
Bull, thank you. Oh, right, because yeah, her sister fucks the bull. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, there's a lot of cow fucking in this book too.
Yeah.
That's the one
Yeah.
weird part.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Greek gods loved cows.
Yeah. There's a fair amount of bestiality
Yeah,
in Greek
yeah.
mythology, but yeah.
It's very strange. But
Mhm.
so basically, yeah, this half person, half bull creature is born, and they're like, we don't know what to do with it because it keeps wanting to eat people. So Cersei puts a spell on it to kind of calm it down, but they still have to keep it contained. And so they put it in what starts off as a maze but becomes a labyrinth. And the metaphoric reason for this tale is the labyrinth represents going deeper into oneself, right? Like it's a metaphor.
Yeah.
Um and the Minotaur is the scary, creature that's like kind of hunting you down as you're doing it. This scene, her going under the mountain through this maze to come to the center, which is under the mountain, kind of reminds me of
Mm.
that myth in a way because you will see, I mean, we already know because of chapter 34, Feyre is going to have to face 3 challenges. And
Yeah.
I feel there's probably an argument to be made that each one of those challenges, and now I'm going to be looking for it, probably represents something about Feyre herself that
Mm.
possibly scares her or is like deep down in her. I
Hmm.
love that you came to this idea of it being an organic kind of sound because when you're in that labyrinth, you really only have yourself to contend with,
Yeah.
right? It is, if we're thinking about our own personal labyrinths we go through in life that aren't, literally represented by this maze, oftentimes we're having these realizations about ourselves in very quiet moments that
Yeah.
there's nothing big happening. So all this to say, I love your sound design,
Thank you.
and I took it in a mythological
Yeah.
route,
Yeah. But
and it
I
works
mean
perfectly.
I just always find these kinds of moments in movies or in books like to be the most stressful when you're
Yeah,
just sort of you're fully exposed. Like she has a beautiful, it's the perfect way to describe it, where she just says, I was as good as a starving doe ripping bark off a tree in a clearing. Like that's
yeah.
it. That perfectly describes the whole scenario. And I just think with literally just the natural sounds of what she would be doing in the space would be enough for you to feel the stress and the uh all the things. And then to be, I mean, pretty much anything with the adder has such incredible sound design moments. Like
So
even
fun.
later, like she even like the way she describes the adder's voice is like absolutely incredible. It's like, oh, what did she say? She said it's like it was like a sizzling on a griddle. Like she says something that like just like to
Yeah.
describe that. So like basically it's really hard. Anytime the adder shows up and talks and does anything, I'm just like sound, sound, sound. Because like he's just so she does a lot of description. A lot of his descriptions are sounds. So I like the adder's hard because I just basically want to just like create his entire
Oh,
sound design
well,
in general because it's insane. But
I feel like this
yeah.
segues well into chapter 34 because, like,
Yeah.
one of the first thing it talks about is, the adder is bringing her to Amarantha,
Yeah.
and I love the description on page 295 where it says, "The adder just tugged me onward with that slithering gait."
Ugh.
Like, you can hear it, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because I feel like I can hear it, but I can't entirely picture what is, like,
Right.
beyond like, I keep picturing, like, a snake-like
Yeah.
tail, but it has legs,
Yeah.
so, I'm trying to picture how slithering and walking would look, but I
Yeah.
can hear it for sure.
Yeah, I just imagine like it's a very slow gait is how I would imagine
Yeah,
it, and very like kind of like almost dragging its feet, like
that's
just
what I was
very
gonna
like
say.
lazy, like very
Yeah.
which when something really evil is like lazy, there's like an
Ugh.
extra sinisterness to it. Like this whole chapter is just it's just like a crash course into like epitome of evil,
Yeah.
epitome of like, sinisterness. Like it's just like there's so many things in chapter 34 that you're just like I have so many moments in my note where I'm just like evil, evil as fuck. Okay, wow,
Yeah.
evil. Like there's not much more to be said honestly about some of the portions in this chapter because it's just like what the fuck. The thing that really gets me is that this adder looks almost identical to what she painted, and I just like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Like how?
There's I have some theories how, but I ain't gonna say them on this part of the
I
pod.
have questions.
I
It's just
have questions
it's just
too.
pretty wild because I love how she said like it looked unnervingly identical to how I painted it. And it's just, I mean, there's
Yeah.
an element that you could kind of be like, well, like she's a painter, like so she's a very like visual person. So once she heard the sound, but like there's definitely something that I feel like we could unpack there.
Yes.
But I just find that very interesting. Also, this collection of fairies that are
Very
leering at
interesting.
her. And I
Yes.
find this very fascinating. I mean, within the first 2 pages of this chapter, right? Because obviously we end up realizing that she basically is brought into the throne room, right? So
Right.
this whole walk. Oh, also side note, how does the adder know who she is? Is it like
Yeah, it's a good question because
because the adder doesn't kill her? And then when the
right.
adder throws her in front of Amarantha, the adder is like, tell her. Tell her where you came from, like why you came from the spring court. And you're like, how the fuck do you know, bro?
I didn't even think about that, especially because we'll get to this later, but they thought that they already killed the
Exactly.
woman who was with Tamlin. So
Exactly.
the only thing I can think of, this is pure theory,
Mhm.
the adder may have smelled her when it
Yeah.
visited the spring court.
Yeah.
Even though she was glamored, it might have smelled her scent
I think
and
that's a possibility for
recognized it.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think I mean, the adder is, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, the adder is a type of fairy, but, like, when referred to as the adder, I assume it's the same adder. Or is it just one dude?
Interesting.
Because I
I
always
don't
forget, like,
know.
there is a, like, race of fairies called the adder, but, like, this one is, like, him with a
Fascinating.
capital H,
I don't I don't sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just gonna go with
I'll
it
admit I haven't given it
until
much thought. It's just the
yeah,
adder's the adder. I think is pretty much
the
all
adder's
I've ever done with that. But that's interesting.
I feel like the adder is, it's the evil twin, like, in the Star Trek way, where they have, like, the goatees of the
Yeah.
Suriel. You know what I mean? It's like the Suriel's, like,
Yeah,
doppelganger, kind
yeah.
of.
Evil twin brother or twin
Exactly.
sibling. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that actually. But yeah, so the adder knows who she is, whatever. Well, let's say
Yeah.
I'm with you on the smell thing. But so the adder's
Yeah.
basically bringing her into the throne room, right? And what I think is
Right.
really fascinating is just this walk to the throne room. We are immediately seeing the classism of Amarantha
Yep.
because we have basically the lesser fairies right
Yeah.
outside the throne room because she talks about how she's seeing all these fairies, lots of them, but she hasn't seen any high
Mhm.
fae yet. But then when the doors open into the throne room, she's like, "Oh, here are the high fae." It's
Yes.
also fascinating to me that like we're getting these fairies leering at her. So in my mind, these immediately are fairies that chose to join Amarantha. These are not
Yes.
captured fairies. These are fairies that have they have flocked to her. I think it's another beautiful thing of what Sarah does is like, we've talked many times about like show don't tell or
Yeah.
whatever, or like don't double up basically. And I think
Right.
she's doing a really good job of telling us a lot about Amarantha, about how this whole walk to the throne, to the dais that Amarantha is sitting on, like we're within this whole walk, we're learning a lot about Amarantha, that the lesser
Oh,
fairies
yeah.
aren't even clearly allowed into the throne room.
Which is wild if you think, like, those are the ones who chose to be with her.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
people they're the fairy that, at least how I'm viewing it, are the ones that are choosing, that have flocked to come be with her, aren't even allowed into her throne room.
Sorry, really quick. Sounds a lot like current, politics if you
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
Very reflective.
The ones who actually support you the most are actually the ones that you look down on. It does sound really familiar.
Yep.
And then when we get in there in this like party that's basically going on,
Yeah.
you're just kind of like, okay, so we're playing court is what's happening. Like
Oh, yeah.
Amarantha is
Hardcore.
playing
I mean,
court.
she's the queen of Prithian. Well, then what gets me is this description. We finally see this faceless her,
Oh my God.
that we've been hearing about for most of the book, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So on page 296, Feyre says, there, lounging on a black throne, was Amarantha. Though lovely, she wasn't as devastatingly beautiful as I had imagined, wasn't some goddess of darkness and spite. It made her all the more petrifying. Her red gold hair was neatly braided and woven through her golden crown, the deep color enriching her snow white skin, which in turn set off her ruby lips. But while her ebony eyes shone, there was something that sucked at her beauty, some kind of permanent sneer to her face that made her allure more seem contrived and cold. To paint her would have driven me to madness. I mean, what an intro, first off. This very much reminds me of like kind of like a lot of Disney villains. Like I'm thinking specifically Snow White, the evil stepmother. Um, like just this I think there's something to her saying she wasn't as devastatingly beautiful as I had imagined, because to me, I mean, we know both human and fae value beauty in this
Mhm.
world, right?
Yeah.
And we have already, and will continue to get more descriptions of especially fae being described as devastatingly beautiful. Like it is
Yeah.
like beyond comprehension how beautiful they are. Meaning that if Amarantha isn't that, like that
Mhm.
means she's probably like a 5 or a 6 in
Yeah.
Prithian, and you kinda have to wonder. I mean, to us, she's probably, like, an 11, but, like, to Faye, she ain't shit,
Yeah.
which I can only imagine contributes to her evilness,
Absolutely.
which is really
Absolutely.
sad because, I mean, we see in this chapter and we'll continue to see she's a vain motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, but I mean, she sounds so scary. Love an evil hot redhead.
Yeah, right?
Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's kind of great. I mean, I think the sort of agreed upon for the most part fan casting, and I am wholeheartedly behind this shit, is Sophie Turner,
Yep.
who, if you don't know who that is, she played Sansa Stark in Game of Thrones. I would kill. I mean, she looks exactly like how Amarantha is described, but also like I would love to see her play just an evil fucking
Me
villain. Like
too.
she
Me
would do
too.
so
Yeah,
good.
no, I would love that, because you get slight glimpse of her being, like, a little villainous in Game of
Yeah,
Thrones, and it would be so fun. I mean, the only thing that would make her not work is that, like, she's fucking gorgeous.
I
Um,
know.
you
But I
know
mean, Amarantha is still supposed to be
Yeah,
gorgeous, just
yeah.
not like,
Just not
you know,
s yeah, but no, I think you and I both stumbled on that
yeah.
casting at some point, and we both were like, "Yes, oh my god," like, it's all I see now. But, yeah, I love this description so
Ugh.
much because it's wildly unsettling. I think there's the fact that she is not otherworldly beautiful, I think makes her wickedness scarier.
Yes.
Because there's sort of this like it's far more comforting to view a villain in a kind of like otherworldly way, right?
Yes.
It makes it
Yeah.
almost more palpable, some of their
Yeah.
evilness, like
'Cause you're like, they're on a level you can't really
that you
comprehend,
can't
so
even
it makes
comprehend.
sense.
Like,
Yeah.
people do this in their lives in the sense of
Yeah.
like they'll view certain people who have done wrong to them as like a demon. And what's
Yeah.
actually scarier is when you start humanizing those people. Like when you
Yes.
start humanizing, Hitler. That's terrifying. It's so much easier to
Right.
think of that dude as this kind of like demon on earth because
Yes.
to think of a human actually doing that to other humans is like
Yeah.
more terrifying because when it's an untouchable concept, you obviously it's not excuse or forgive or it's none of that, but
No.
it's like you almost can be like, okay, I shouldn't be able to wrap my head around that because you are a being that I can't wrap my head around. And so Amarantha not being this like otherworldly gorgeous creature that just everyone is falling to their feet to like be close to or something
Yep.
makes her so much scarier because
Well, you know
she's
what it
touchable
is?
because she's you've seen her before you've well
Yes.
like her seemingly normal makes it like oh dear god so anyone I see could be this terrifying.
I was gonna say, it makes you reflect on the fact that you could have gone down that path or someone because I mean, like, Feyre obviously couldn't because she's human, but,
Right.
like, Tamlin could have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, there is a world where Tamlin absolutely coulda and actually probably easier than Amarantha could
Yeah.
have. He is more powerful than Amarantha. We established last chapter, she really doesn't have crazy powers, she just has a lot of cunning,
Yeah.
right? But Tamlin does, and so do all the rest of the High
Yeah.
Lords. So any one of them could have done what Amarantha did, and that like it's that humanizing. In I know I'm saying that in regards to Fae. I know they're not humans, but like it's that thing of like whether it's like this or like real life horrible people in our world, you start going like, oh, really? Anyone kind of has the capacity to do this, and the fact that this person did do it, they made a choice.
Yeah.
That's what's really scary, is it comes
Yes.
down to choices that anyone could make, and when it's just choice standing between you and something really fucking evil, that takes a lot of willpower, and
Yeah.
that's really scary. So,
Yeah.
I completely understand what you're saying. Speaking of choices, possible choices,
Mhm.
we don't know yet. I have my directing moment that comes right
Okay.
after this description. So on page 296, after Feyre has described Amarantha, she says, "Then I looked to the black rock throne beside her, and my arms buckled beneath me. He was wearing that golden mask, still wearing his warrior's clothes, that baldric. Even though there were no knives sheathed along it, not a single weapon anywhere on him. His eyes didn't widen, his mouth didn't tighten. No claws, no fangs. He just stared at me, unfeeling, unmoved, unimpressed." So she's obviously talking about Tamlin here, and
Mhm.
both this section as well as there's a few throughout the chapter where Tamlin does not react to Feyre. He eventually does at one point, but for the most part, he doesn't react to Feyre. I would so want to direct. And mostly because, like, one of my favorite parts of directing is working with the actors, right? Like, I
Mhm.
love all parts of directing, but like working with actors, like, and I think it's because I used to act, so I understand it, but it's really common in the film industry when you're doing auditions to do what's called a chemistry test, especially for, I mean, it could be kind of for anything, but it's typically used for like movies that have some kind of romantic, couple in it. Uh, I have mixed feelings about them. I personally love doing them, but I also know I don't exploit my actors. Some people do. Um, but I think what would be really interesting to do for this production, whether it's a movie or a show, is to do for whoever's playing Feyre and Tamlin, I think you would have to do both obviously a romantic chemistry test, but also a chemistry test for these scenes.
Mhm.
Because like to see two people, two actors act so in love and then for one of them to go the exact opposite, like that's a really hard I think thing for an actor to do.
Mhm.
And whoever would be playing Tamlin would have to really pull it off because I think, when I first read this chapter, the way I interpreted it was he's not under a spell. He's doing this to protect Feyre.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so and that's why I said
Yes.
choice, like
Yeah.
this is a choice he's making. And I understand why he's making this choice. And so I think it'd be so interesting to see what actor would be able to do both the like I'm super in love with Feyre and then I pretending I don't even know her
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it would be a challenge. It would definitely be a challenge both for that actor as well as me as a director.
Yeah. No, that would definitely be very interesting. And yeah, I think whoever plays Tamlin, because even with how Tamlin is in the beginning when he first meets Feyre and just this sort
Yes.
of process, like they would have to carry a lot of skill, I think, on their shoulders because the ability to
Yeah.
believably, to as a audience member, to believe the progression of this whole thing, to then also believe that he isn't just suddenly being cold and he doesn't love Feyre. Like
Right.
you have to play this in a way because eventually we get to the point that like it is obvious that he is doing this to protect her. Um
Yes.
so an actor having to play that both sides at the exact same time without dialogue is
Right.
insane, right? The
You know
dude
who
pretty much the only thing he says in this chapter is like I've never seen her before.
right.
Other than that it's like looks and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah.
You know who I realized if this were made in like the aughts would have been so incredible as Tamlin, but unfortunately is no longer with us is Heath Ledger. He would have fucking
He would have been
killed.
really good at this.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I know that it will never not hurt thinking about Heath Ledger, but
Oh,
he would have
I
fucking
still yeah.
killed.
I still can't watch certain movies because of it,
Oh,
which is unfortunate because they're really good movies, but
I
no,
know.
yeah, he would have killed at that. But she is so worried about his stillness throughout this entire chapter. I started screaming at her. I was like, "Girl, it is so obvious why he's doing this." It is
Yeah.
so and even like I feel like once we get to the Clare Beddor moment and then he kind of says some of the stuff that he does, you're like, okay, it's like confirmed. But even before
Yes.
that, you're like, he is not going to show this fucking psychopath next to him how deeply he cares about you. That's why
Right.
he sent you home, bitch. Like, what? Why are we like, I had frustration with her in this chapter. And when I first read this too, I remember the first time I was
Yeah.
like, he very obviously is not gonna react to you being there.
Well, this is the
Obviously, because of the psychopath sitting next to him, like, what? Yeah.
this is the double-edged sword of caring about others more than you care about yourself, I think, is
Mm.
you don't see those moments when someone who clearly cares about you is trying to protect you and you're just worried about them. I mean, she says on page 297, if Tamlin was under some kind of spell, I
Yeah.
would have to worry about grabbing him. Like,
Yeah.
she's not thinking, oh, he's trying to protect me like I'm trying to protect him. Like,
Yeah, oh, that's a
it's,
good point. That's a
yeah,
really
I
good
mean,
point.
it's classic Lost in Translation
Yeah.
kind of moment here, which I feel it's kind of in some ways their first like real challenge as a couple for thinking
Yeah.
about just like, from an emotional standpoint,
Yeah.
not all the craziness going on around them
Right.
of like how do you reconcile when you're two people who care more about the other person than you do yourself, that there's going to be conflict at
Yeah.
some point,
Yeah.
you know?
How do you find the balance? How do you find that middle
Yeah.
ground of like, wait a minute? Yeah.
Like, "Are you okay? No, are you okay?"
"No, are
Like,
you okay?"
it's
No,
that
yeah,
right, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
"I'm okay if you're okay," and it's like, "No,
Yeah.
we gotta,"
Yeah.
so,
Well,
um
I love though that she is, I mean, still though, she's just like Farrah's just like in fucking survival mode. How she
yeah,
even uses the way she answers to Amarantha as ways to like bide time and to like get
Yes.
information, right? Like that's
Yep.
where that quote that you just said even comes from. She's like planning.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I need to answer in such a way that like gives me time. And I also love how she's like wondering if she can break the curse right away. How,
I
because when she
know.
says, I came to claim the one I loved, like she's like, I'm gonna try it.
Let's fucking try.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna just try this out.
We're here
Like,
already.
I just, she's, to me, Feyre is a very quick thinker. You
Yeah.
know, as we saw when Reese was in her mind, when she even gave
Yeah.
Clare Beddor's name, like, obviously it leads to severe tragedy, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it does still save Feyre from being in this position that we eventually see. But it's just like she is such a quick thinker because her ability to like quickly adapt to a situation, like baby girl is just staring at Tamlin and staring at this crazy lady. She's not getting overwhelmed by all these fairies around her. She's not like she's really good at like laser focusing onto things because I don't feel like I would be able to. I feel like I would be so overwhelmed by
Oh,
like everything that was
well,
happening.
not for nothing. We find out, I think it's in the next book, her birthday's on the winter solstice, meaning her birthday is December 21st, which makes her a Capricorn.
Mm,
Which I'd be very curious to know if Sarah J. Maas purposely did the astrology for her. It does not surprise me that she's a Capricorn
yeah,
because Capricorns are represented. The symbol for Capricorn is the goat, specifically the sea goat. We won't get into that, but a lot of the times when I hear astrologers talking about Capricorns, they'll talk about how, like, if you think of like a mountain goat, right? That mountain goat is like climbing like steep cliffside. Sometimes I have barely any ledge,
yeah,
and they just keep going until they can't go any further. And even then they'll try and keep going. And that's Farah to a T,
yeah.
right? That's
True.
her in this scene. So like when I realize I'm like, oh, this bitch is a Capricorn, I'm like, of course she's a
Yeah,
Capricorn.
yeah. It's already there. It's already there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like just the way she answers to Amarantha and this whole thing, and then Amarantha is just fucking terrifying and how she talks
Oh,
and how she responds when she says, like,
well,
"I've come to claim Tamlin," and she just laughs at her.
the other terrifying thing that really unsettled me is this fucking finger bone necklace and eye on her ring.
We find out that that is Jurian, her
Yeah.
sister's lover. So when Alice was like, they had their final moment, like final battle. Yeah, okay.
This was it.
Apparently the final battle was fucking Amarantha taking his finger bone and putting his consciousness into her ring with his eyeball. Homie is aware.
I'm going to say something that probably exposes the shit out of me. And I'm not saying I approve of Amarantha, but as an older sister, there are times where people have done my little sister dirty, and I wish I could do something like this where I'm like, I want to just. I can relate a little bit, is what I'm
Oh, no,
saying.
no. I can absolutely relate to this from a sister standpoint. 1,000% I can relate to this from a
Yeah.
purely sister, like if any motherfucker, yeah, no. I'm with you. But
Yeah.
to bring it back to this story,
Yeah.
fuck, dude.
Oh, fuck.
This is so because yeah, like they
So dark.
like throughout this whole chapter, you get these sort of like, okay, Feyre like clocks a finger bone. Okay. And then she clocks an actual eyeball in the ring.
Sorry, I just realized something. So, listeners, as I'm sure you've seen, Corinne has amazing rings.
I've been waiting.
Well, and I realized, so we've been joking, she got a new one that looks like Jurian's eye. And I realized because the one below it, if you can see, her and I, we have these matching little hand rings that I got us. They're hands, aka fingers. So you have not only Jurian's eye, but the finger. For those not watching, Corinne's just slowly falling out of frame.
I'm not Amarantha, I promise.
Hey guys, did you know she's secretly a redhead? She
Yeah.
just dyes her. I'm just kidding. I'm
It's
kidding.
so that's actually really funny. I did used to have an obsession of redheads. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think we all did at a certain point. But,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I was, like, been waiting because we showed the spoiler team my ring a
Yes.
while ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been waiting for us to get to this moment, but I hadn't thought about the hand thing. That's so funny,
I
Ariel.
just realized it.
Oh my god. But, like so yeah, so, like, she's seen the finger bone, she saw the eyes that she thought twitched at a certain point, and then eventually Amarantha actually does, like, speak. It's, like, I think it's page, like, 300 or something, like,
Yeah.
she actually speaks to it,
Yeah.
to the ring. But yeah, like, oh, so Tamlin actually did manage to find a girl to fall in love with him, blah, 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 and she, like, looks at her ring and she's like, "If anyone would appreciate this moment, it would be you,
That's
Jurian."
right.
And she looks at the eyeball and you're just like, "What the fuck?" And what I think is also awful is on page 301, we become aware that the eye is conscious
Yeah.
because Amarantha's had this whole thing where she's like, "Of course, Amarantha purred, I'll throw in another element if you don't mind, just to see if you're worthy of one of our kind, if you're smart enough to deserve him." Jurian's eyes swiveled wildly and she clicked her tongue at it. The eye stopped moving. So homie is aware in
Oh
this
yeah.
ring.
Mhm.
Y'all, we didn't need a lot more to feel like this woman was evil, but this is like,
So beyond the pale. You know what I just realized? And I would actually put money on this for where SJM got her inspiration for both Amarantha and Jurian's ring. Hocus Pocus. You have a redhead, Winifred Sanderson, with her
with the book,
book that
with the
has an
eyeball.
eye.
Yeah. Book. Yeah.
I was thinking, and she kind of hates men too. She like buries her ex. So like,
Yeah. Wow. Sews his mouth shut. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we love Hocus Pocus. Like, so my head canon is gonna be that was Sarah J. Maas's inspiration for Amarantha.
I really love that. I love that so much.
We should talk about Claire, but before we do, because I will forget, we have a correction from last week. So, and we
Oh,
realized this. We realized this as we were recording the spoiler episode. So, lovely spoiler free friends. If you recall, we were talking about Alice, telling us all about the curse. And there was like the one ball where all the High Lord's powers were taken away. And then there's a mention of a possibly second ball, but we weren't sure where the curse is put on Tamlin, right? Where the masks are, basically they can't take them off, and Tamlin has to find a human woman. We, in your guys' episode, the spoiler-free episode, concluded that it was only one ball. We thought it has to be one ball where the High Lords get their powers taken away, and then the curse is placed on Tamlin. But then the more we talked about it in the spoiler episode, we realized, no, this doesn't make sense. It actually probably is two balls, and the reason is he sends Lucian to go negotiate with Amarantha, which I think in the spoiler free episode, we kind of thought like, oh, well, he already hated Amarantha,
yeah.
so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But that didn't, like, the more we talked about it, like, we realized like, no, I think there had to have been something that happened.
Yeah.
And it would have been the High Lords getting their powers taken away.
Yeah.
Also, Tamlin's, if you think about it, might have been taken away. That's a little unclear. So he sent Lucian as his emissary. So yeah, just wanted to correct that before we continue, because I mean, it's not a huge deal, but
No.
we do talk about it.
Yeah.
Also, more incentive for the new readers when you're done with the whole series. Come back, listen to the spoiler episodes.
Yeah. Well, because we also discussed how Alice's family gets like it was a part of the Alice says that they were kind of a part of like the sort of first like attack that Amarantha does. And the idea is that we don't fully know Amarantha is bad until she takes the power from the High Lord. So that attack,
Right.
it wouldn't make sense to do it before the ball. So
Right.
basically it says like the ball happens, this attack happens, Alice flees the summer court.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Tamlin ends up kind of taking her in. And literally she gets brought in to work for Tamlin like 2 to 3 days before the curse on Tamlin happens. And so
Right.
when Ariel and I got into that Alice moment, we started just being like, wait, this doesn't make sense then that this is one ball. It makes
Right.
more sense if it's two. So yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though like the semantics don't really have much of a bearing going forward, I think it shows just how, again, evil Amarantha is. Like, she threw 2 fucking balls
For
to fuck
herself. To
over for
fuck people
herself.
over. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of fucking people over, I mean,
Oh
this goes
dear
beyond that.
God.
Clare Beddor.
Dude.
It's so dark.
It's freaking awful. And it's extra awful because you basically, like, this is what we were saying earlier, is that you basically realize that part of the reason why Tamlin's being extra weird is he clearly tried to sell that Claire was the woman
Yeah.
that they were going to use to try to break the curse, that Claire was the woman that Reese saw, because Amarantha has this moment where she's like, wait, but if only one human could be taken. And then she literally stops and she says the grossest thing ever, where she was like, oh, you are delicious. You let me torture that innocent girl to keep this one safe. You lovely thing. You actually made a human worm love you. Marvelous.
Ugh.
Blech.
Well, and what's even at least just as sad, if not sadder, is once, Feyre sees Claire. I'm not even gonna describe it. Like, y'all have
It's
read it at this
awful.
point.
It's
It's an awful
awful. It's
description.
awful. She's nailed on a wall. That's all I'll say. But it's fucking awful.
So Feyre has this horrible realization on page 299 where she says, he let them kill Claire like that to keep them from knowing that I was alive. Like, and it's this kind of what we talked about earlier. This is where it gets tricky, where like sometimes putting yourself or putting others before yourself isn't it. It's just tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because like I'm not gonna fault Tamlin for
No.
doing that.
No.
Like, because let's be honest, if he had said that's not who I was with, it was this other girl, Feyre,
Mhm.
Claire would have still been killed.
Yes.
Like, Amarantha loves killing humans. So like
Yes.
then it would just be 2 dead bodies instead
Yeah.
of 1.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not gonna fault Tamlin for this.
No.
I'm not gonna fault Feyre for this either, because I don't like
No.
she wasn't thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna give Rhysand my Claire's name, and then he's gonna go and kidnap her and
Yeah.
fucking they're gonna kill her. Like,
Yeah.
no. So this was a overall like nothing really could have been avoided. I think it's just so fucking
In kind of like, to continue down that thought process about Tamlin, while we wouldn't fault him,
yeah,
it still puts a mark on his character. So it's
absolutely.
this really unfortunate, and it also puts a mark on Feyre. But
Yeah,
Tamlin actually sat there.
yeah,
And you could argue that maybe he was in a more precarious situation, because like, what's he going to do?
right,
No, stop. Like, because
yeah,
she'll listen. That's not going to happen.
right.
Right.
No,
But it does, I think I'm just continuing down the garden path that you started us on, really, of just like, how do we already, no matter what happens in the rest of this book, Feyre and Tamlin already changed forever.
oh yeah,
Like, no matter what happens, in a good or a bad way, but like they are already putting marks on their souls in this
yep,
scenario. And it's
yep,
just so shitty, because Feyre even says shit like, that rotting body on the wall should have been mine. Mine. Like,
yeah,
it's just, and like, you can logic this to the cows come home.
yeah,
Feyre will feel guilty about this for the rest of her life.
right.
And we all would, right? I could
Yes,
logic this to forever, but you're still gonna feel this pit in, in your stomach.
especially how Amarantha continues to talk about Claire, because not only does she like she does not see this woman as a sentient being, basically.
No.
She sees her as like a plaything. And on pages 300 through 301, she tells Feyre things have been awfully boring since Claire decided to die on me. Decided to die on me. You killed her.
Yeah.
Killing you outright, human, would be dull. But fate stirs the cauldron in strange ways. Perhaps my darling Claire had to die in order for me to have some true amusement with you. It's just so stomach churning. Like, it reminds me of like when you hear those stories of like serial killers as children,
Yeah.
like playing with animals and like
Yeah.
and then killing them. Like,
Yeah.
that's exactly what Amarantha is doing. She is playing with what she sees as
Yeah.
animals.
Well, and on 299, she says, perhaps I should have listened when she said she'd never seen Tamlin before, or when she insisted she'd never killed a fairy, never hunted a day in her life. Though her screaming was delightful. I haven't heard such lovely music in ages. I should thank you for giving Rhysand her name instead of yours.
Like, well, and you kind of have to wonder in a really fucked up way if this is what, like,
Yeah.
if the entertainment, quote unquote, that Feyre provided Amarantha, I'm saying this from how Amarantha sees it,
Yes.
is what allows her or gives her the idea to make this bargain rather than killing Feyre outright, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
100%. She wants to torture Tamlin as much as possible. And the
yep,
best way to do that is to create I mean, like, this is literally, I mean, this is a sports event. This is
yeah.
gladiators.
This is the Hunger Games.
This is Hunger Games. Like, she is absolutely, and she's spreading. This is going to be 3 months, right? Because we find out that
Yeah.
the tasks are going to come once a month.
Yep.
Absolutely, this is what inspires her to do this. This woman is bored, and
Yeah.
she's finally gotten Tamlin under the mountain. She's finally able, and what a perfect last thing to truly break him is to
Yeah.
force him to watch this woman
His
have to
lover.
do these tasks
Yeah.
before Amarantha inevitably kills her.
Or she dies in
Or
during
she
the
dies in the
tasks.
task, because that's what is so interesting, right? Is like Feyre starts asking about these tasks, right? Which I love how Feyre just keeps asking questions. Like, she's just
Oh,
like, I'm
again,
just gonna like thinking on her
a
feet.
Capricorn a Capricorn ain't gonna sign, any papers or make any bargains without knowing the details
Yeah.
or as many details as they
Yeah.
can.
And
So,
she's exactly, she's getting all the details. She's like, while yes, she's probably agreeing to a bargain, she still has Alice's like thing in her head of just like, okay, so like what are all the things, what are all the loopholes? Like, she's searching for all this stuff. But what's so scary is when Feyre asks about the tasks, and she asks, and if I fail like a task, and Amarantha's response is, if you fail a task, there won't be anything left of you for me to play with, which terrifyingly phrased, but it also
oh
is
yeah.
our way of knowing these are tasks that to win them is to just survive. Like, these are
Yeah.
tasks where the only way to win is to survive. The only way to lose is that you will die. So it's like,
Yes.
we now immediately know these are going to be life or death situations for Feyre for once a month for 3
Yep.
months.
Yeah. So, to get a little into the nitty-gritty of the tasks, we don't know what they are yet, but the nitty-gritty of the bargain. On page 301, Amarantha tells her, "But I'll make a bargain with you, human. You complete 3 tasks of my choosing." Terrifying.
Yeah.
3 tasks to prove how deep that human sense of loyalty and love runs, and Tamlin is yours. Just 3 little tasks to prove your dedication, to prove to me, to darling Jurian, that your kind can indeed love true, and you can have your high lord. So, while yes, they are obviously some kind of tasks that put her life at risk, they are also somehow going to prove
Yeah.
that Feyre not just loves Tamlin, but I think the point of them is to also show like she doesn't like have that hatred in her heart that she used to for the Fae,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that it's going to be very, I mean, we obviously have read the book, so we know what the tasks are. And this time it's going to be really interesting rereading it and seeing like, oh, this is how
Yeah. Yeah.
this task proves that, right?
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, Feyre really is like kind of deconstructing Amarantha's phrasing
Yeah.
and is a very smart little cookie and says, I want his curse broken too. I complete all 3 of your tasks and his curse is broken, and we and all of his court can leave here and remain free forever. And she says magic was specific, Alice had said. That was how Amarantha had tricked him. I wouldn't let loopholes be my downfall. And Amarantha agrees.
Yeah.
Like, which I don't know which is scarier, her agreeing or her if she didn't agree. It's like the fact that she's agreeing and like so easily
Yeah.
is a little scary. Cause like
Yes.
that means whatever Feyre is about to face is terrifying.
Amarantha doesn't think she's going to survive. Like
No.
that's what feels like very obvious about all of this is that Amarantha does not think, or that if she does survive, whatever Amarantha is going to make her do is going to completely ruin Tamlin's view of her. Like she just,
Yeah.
and honestly, you know, she has a track record of being pretty fucking good at this kind of shit because this fucking curse that she
Clearly.
put on Tamlin is insane. And so it's
Right.
like we're not we're not in a good place here. Like this is not,
No.
I don't feel, I love a task book. You know me. I
I
love
know,
tasks.
right?
I love it. It's like it's my thing. So into it. But we are not being set up for success here because
No.
Amarantha does not play fair. There's a lot of potential loopholes in this situation. And then this
Well, and
riddle.
I was gonna say I find it interesting, and I think it makes it scarier. Like whatever these tasks are must be horrific because she gives Feyre a kind of cheat code in a way by saying you can complete these tasks, or when you can't stand it anymore, all you have to do is answer one question, a riddle. You solve the riddle, and his curse will be broken instantaneously. I won't even need to lift my finger, and he'll be set free. Say the right answer, and he's yours. You can try it at any time, but if you answer incorrectly, and then she pointed, and I didn't need to know need to turn to know that she gestured to Clare. So Feyre can get out of these tasks at any point by solving this riddle. And we don't get the riddle in
Yeah.
this chapter. That will be next week.
Yeah.
But that also is like leaving the question of like like this riddle must be fucking hard to solve.
Yeah. Well, and
If
it's also very high stake riddle. Like
yes.
it's a high stake cheat code
Yes.
because if she gets it wrong, she's killed immediately or tortured or
Yes.
what have you. So it's like there's
Yes.
not like it's high stakes. And yeah, this riddle has got to be, well, it's also there's been a lot of things throughout this chapter where like the disgust towards humans that Amarantha has, and she thinks they're very lowly life forms because she makes all
Yes.
these comments about like how Feyre talks and, you know, we spent all this time teaching you, giving you poetry, and this is how you, you know, like there's all these like things like clearly her viewpoint of humans and their intelligence is very low. So there's also this other part of me where I'm kind of like, well, maybe it'll be a riddle that Amarantha's hubris could it get in her way?
It
Could
could
she
be.
potentially do a riddle that Amarantha believes is above the human mind, but she does
Yes.
not know how smart Feyre actually is? So it's like maybe, I don't know.
Absolutely. So on page 302, Feyre says, if I complete your 3 tasks or solve your riddle, you'll do as I request. Of course, Amarantha said. Is it agreed? His face ghastly white, Tamlin's eyes met mine, and they they almost went imperceptibly wide. No. But it was either this or death like Claire's, slow and brutal. So Tamlin, who has been throughout this chapter just completely like not even stoic, just like doing a poker face.
Yeah.
For the first time, breaks that poker face, looks her in the eye in this way where he's trying to tell her, do not agree to this.
Yeah. And what I think is so funny about Tamlin finally giving her some kind of reaction does the exact opposite of what Tamlin wants. It
I
actually
know.
gives Feyre more, she feels more encouraged to say yes because she's like, there he is. There's my
Yeah.
man.
Yep.
I know he loves me. And in fact, him wanting me to say no proves that he loves me. So it's so funny because it's the exact opposite, and kind of actually goes into what you've been talking about of the, like, if you're worrying about other people before yourself,
Oh,
like, it's like the minute Tamlin does this, she's like, cool, done. Yes, absolutely.
yeah, they agree. And then immediately Amarantha says, "Give her a greeting worthy of my hall." And the adder knocks the shit out of her jaw, and then at least two other people,
Two
if
other
not more,
people.
join and beat her unconscious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really bad. And that's how the chapter
That's how the
ends.
chapter ends. The one thing I do enjoy before this is right before Feyre officially agrees.
Mm,
She has this really awesome, like, little thought where she goes, Feyre's talking about Amarantha. She goes, she tricked them all, but I hadn't survived poverty and years in the woods for naught. My best
yep.
chance lay in revealing nothing about myself or what I knew. What was her court but another forest, another hunting ground? Yeah! I love this
That's
moment.
our girl.
Exactly. I love this moment because this is this girl. She's putting the situation in relatable terms for herself,
Yep.
right? She's like, it's just another hunting ground. And she's reminding herself of the badass fucking bitch that she is. Of like, I didn't survive all of this fucking shit to just like give up now. And right
Yeah.
before this, she pretty much knows that because she walked into this throne room, she's basically already dead. And at
Right.
this point, she just wants to choose how she dies. And
Yes.
it's not, she is gonna fucking fight for it. And it's just this right before she finally agrees, I just think we get this really awesome moment of like her being like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do this because I've worked really hard to just survive and to be
Yeah.
alive. And I'm already dead, so I might as well go down swinging.
Oh, I mean, Alexa plays Survivor by Destiny's Child.
Seriously,
Like, it's
100%.
really that moment.
Absolutely.
Sorry if
Absolutely.
anyone has an Alexa and
I
it
know.
started playing that.
But that's also what makes this ending of this chapter of her getting beaten up
Ugh.
even more painful is
Yeah.
you get this like empowering, fuck yeah, I'm going to do this. And
Yeah.
then immediately we're shown the stickiness of Amarantha of,
Yeah.
yeah, give her a greeting. And then she proceeds to get beat up by basically 3 people.
Yeah.
And now my question is she going to be healed in time for the first trial? When is the first trial? Is the first trial the very soon? Do we have to wait another month for the next trial? Like already not playing fair. It's
Oh,
terrifying. You
the
you
game
go up, you're really stoked about the powerfulness of Feyre, and then we are immediately brought down.
the game is rigged and it's not in her favor. That is
Mhm.
for damn sure. But
Mhm.
as you said, that's where we leave her. We're going to find out some of those answers
Yeah.
next week. So next week, we're just going to cover chapter 35 because there's quite a bit in that
Yeah.
chapter. We find out some more information. So that is your homework for this week. If you haven't already, we would love it. The Cauldron would bless you if you subscribed, rated, and reviewed us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. It really, really makes a difference in getting us out there to other ACOTAR fans and people who are considering reading ACOTAR. I was telling Corinne earlier, I might have just gotten someone to read the book. It's I think it's the closest I've ever come to like being like someone who converts someone to a religion of like, have you heard of ACOTAR? Like, you can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Cauldron Save Us Pod, and you can email us at cauldronsaveus@gmail.com.
Yep.
We're in the thick of it.
We're in the thick of it. Yeah, so, here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah. As always, you're welcome.
And we're really sorry.
We're really sorry.
Bye, guys.
Bye.